Every January 9, devotees troop to the streets of Manila, all driven by faith, hope, and a sense of unity. The Traslacion of the Nazarene is a 500-year tradition that reflects the Filipino spirit of panata and bayanihan. And today, we are going to take a deep dive into the history of this centuries-old tradition with historian Xiao Chua. It's a beautiful day, Xiao. Welcome back to the show.
Makasaysayang araw, historic day to all of you.
My favorite greeting.
Our favorite word.
Say that again.
Makasaysayang araw.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been practicing.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it.
So, of course, January 9, we are celebrating the Traslacion today. And a while ago, we were giving live updates on what is going on already there in Quiapo. A lot of devotees have been there since last night. Now, Xiao, can you tell us more about the origins of Traslacion and how it all began?
Well, first of all, the Traslacion procession as we know it today, which is from the Rizal Park, Luneta, and it goes back to Quiapo,
Yes.
is a very new thing. It actually started in 2007.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's okay.
So it used, Traslacion means transfer. Because the Black Nazarene, of course, we now call it Pong Jesus Nazareno. We've always called it Pong Jesus Nazareno.
Yeah.
Is the statue of Jesus Christ carrying the cross. And parang he fell down, parang ganon.
Yeah.
So, for many centuries, the Spaniards brought it here from Mexico.
Yeah.
Through the galleons, and around 1700s, a devotion started in Quiapo Church. So there has always been the Quiapo Nazareno procession.
Okay.
So it starts. There's a novena that also begins with a procession. January 1. That's
Yeah.
why we have the Thanksgiving procession, and then the novena, which is 9 days. That's why it's Novem Diales Novena, 9 days prayers. The last day is January 9. That's why this is the procession. It is not actually a fiesta.
Yeah.
It's only now, this year, that it's now formally a national feast declared by the Catholic Church. So it can be celebrated all throughout the country by various all the parishes.
Is there a specific reason why it's in Quiapo Church when we have so many other beautiful churches here in the Philippines?
Well, all churches have patron saints, and it's also either a saint or Virgin Mary or Jesus Christ.
Right.
But this special Quiapo, because the Nazareno was there, the black, what was called the Black Nazarene. A lot of people said that we were drawn to it because of the color.
Yeah.
First, it's the Lord, okay, it's Jesus Christ, and then the color. It kind of reminds us that Emmanuel, God was with us. He was
Yeah.
human like us, and
Yes.
he looks like a Filipino.
Yeah.
And he is also suffering, like most people during the time of the Spaniards were suffering. And so we were drawn to it because we know that the suffering Jesus Christ is not the end of the story. There's hope because there's resurrection after the death of Jesus. And the death of Jesus gives light, as according to Cardinal Ambo David. So we are not really looking at the Nazareno as a figure of depression, but really where we pin our hopes of and healing and everlasting life. And that's why this is where we see the fusion of the old beliefs of the Filipinos before the coming of the Spaniards, where we believe in that objects have power.
Yeah.
Like statues, like the paño or
Yeah.
the towel. That we wipe it to the Nazareno so that you can transfer power.
Yeah.
This is why, even if it's a Catholic tradition, you see all of this, shall we say, Filipino traditions also in this devotion being played in front of us.
So, 500-year history, sigurado may mga controversies, may mga issues na pinagdaanan yung entire procession, the entire tradition in general. What stands out in your mind when you take a look at siguro yung mga pinagdaanan ng tradition na to?
Well, first of all, even before the Traslacion was held, it's always depicted. Well, before, as you're going to see the old photographs and the old paintings of the of the Jesus Nazareno procession, it used to be a usual procession.
Yeah.
The people are walking and there were candles and all. And this kind of developed by the American period, where you see already people, still people walking with candles, but some of them were already wanting to touch the image while it is moving.
Yeah.
With the andas, they call it the andas, the one that they used to carry the andas with their shoulders.
Yes.
So people were climbing up just to touch the image. So, but around the time, so there was already like kumbaga, incidences at that time. But eventually it developed into what would become what we know it today. What we know it, how we knew it before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Because now they're changing it. You have to remember that there are parts of the devotion in the procession. One is called the pagsalang, means you are going to go to the procession.
Yes.
And sa salang ka, you're going to get the lubid the rope.
Yes.
And papasan ka. You're going to carry the rope. So why carry the rope? The rope has nothing to do with the movement of the andas. It's just an extension so that people can participate. So that is, and in their thinking, in their imagery, they're actually sharing with the carrying of the cross of Jesus, as Jesus was doing. What was taken out of the new version, as implemented by the Reverend Father Jun Sescon, the parish priest, now Bishop-elect of Balanga, was the pagsampa. So that's pagsampa means that there's a karosa, andas, which is now not andas but karosa.
Yeah.
People are climbing
On
up
top of it, yeah.
on top so that they can touch the Black Nazarene. And of course, the priests, like the former parish priest, were interpreting for the devotees that it's really an act of faith. When you want to touch the Nazarene, when you want to wipe the handkerchief, the towel to the Nazarene, it's an act of faith like that in the Bible, where the woman was bleeding for 7 years, said, mahawakan ko lang ang laylayan ng damit ng aking Panginoon, gagaling ako.
Yeah.
So that's how we take it.
You know, I wanted to know the history of the Jesus Nazareno itself, no? Because I read that hindi pala siya Black Nazarene before it came to the Philippines. I wanted to confirm
Well,
that
it's
with
possible that it was not black because the Nazarene, the point of the Nazareno is not really the blackness.
Yeah.
It was just incidental because the wood that was used, as time goes by, becomes dark.
Darker. Yeah.
So that is why it becomes Black Nazarene.
Okay.
I've seen images of the Jesus Nazareno. He was painted like the usual statues. So the point really was not it's black, except that, of course, according to the anthropologist Butch Shalsita, Fernando Nakpil Shalsita, who was also from Quiapo, we associate blackness to power in cultures around the world. Black images have power.
Yeah.
It's not really evil. It's really it's really power.
Gravitas.
So that's why if you look at some of the powerful images here in the Philippines, you have the Santo Niño de Cebu, black. You have the Virgin of Peace and Good Voyage in Antipolo, black. So the Santo Niño in Pandacan, black. So you also see this pattern here.
Yep. You know, we are so happy we're getting a chance to talk to you because you actually published a dissertation on this entire tradition on the Black Nazarene. From a personal perspective, why did you want to really invest all this time, all this knowledge, and all of this stress in learning more about Traslacion?
Aside from the enjoyable stress that I still do it actually, even if I finish the dissertation, I still go to the events. I was actually there earlier during the Misa Mayor.
Yeah.
I'm actually a Protestant already, yes. But I remember when people discuss about the Black Nazarene and how these people are fanatics and they're mindless people, I remembered my mother. Because my mother's faith was sustained by the Black Nazarene. They thought that I was a sickly person and I'm going to die very young when I was a young boy. But she went to the Black Nazarene or the Jesus Nazareno in Tarlac every Friday. She brings me there. I used to dress up like the Black Nazarene, like the Nazareno, and I was brought there every time. And I kind of, it's my mother a fanatic.
Yeah.
So I want to know the heart of my mother. I want to know the heart of a devotee. And so I did this anthropological study.
Well, for people who aren't devotees or like someone like me or like the younger generations, you mentioned earlier, it started just recently, 2007, correct? So what do you think attracts the younger generation to participate now?
Well, first of all, the secret to the endurance of the of the Jesus Nazareno.
Yeah.
Just have to get used to it. Of the Jesus Nazareno as a devotion is really the excitement that people feel during the Traslacion. That's actually one factor. Because people start very young, they're attracted to it. And that's why a lot of people criticize it. These young people who come there, they really do not pray. They're like really do this because they have gangs and they have, they have a barkada
Yeah.
and they go there to
Yeah.
hang out, to actually prove something. But I always say it's okay because when I talk to the old mamamasan, the old devotees, they always tell me that, their faith are deep now. Their faith in the Jesus Nazareno is deep now. But they used to be also like the young people now. So, because as we know, when people start young, they really do not understand fully yet.
Right. Yes.
Until, of course, exposure to it every year makes you fall deeper to understanding what really this means to all of us. So, I guess you just let people do it.
Yeah.
Right? And so that is the reason why young people just go and attend and they do the rituals of the mamamasan. And they will also pass this. And there are many generations of mamamasan already, as we can see.
You know, this actually reminds me of that story in the Bible where Jesus gathers the children, right?
yes.
Yeah. Well, how do you address, critiques who say that the people who go here every year are fanatical, like you've mentioned earlier, and call
Okay.
this whole devotion colonial?
Well, colonial, yes, but there's also a process in culture called appropriation. Definitely, we appropriated, inangkin natin, and we mixed our cultural practices to this.
Right.
And fanatical, well, you can say that, but what I always see here is, if you really study it from the perspective of the devotees, I actually learned a lot from them. That what they were doing, you just look at it, it looks chaotic. But there's actually bayanihan there. There's order. There's a way of moving around so that people are safe. Remember, millions of people going there every year.
Yeah.
But in the past few years, there are no casualties, like no deaths that were happening. And if there were deaths, it's really heart attack and all. So no procession-related deaths that were happening. So that means that there's really something there. There's bayanihan. So for example, during the time when people can still climb up the andas, there were people who are at the sides. They were called pinga because pinga is the handle of the andas. But they were also called pinga, and people see it, and people were, they're stepping on other people so that they can climb, these devotees.
Right.
But actually, these people, this pinga, they actually let themselves use the shoulders so that people can climb,
Pockets,
so they
diba?
can touch.
Okay.
It's really bayanihan. There's really, you can look at it, you can read I have some papers about it. There are explanations already by a lot of anthropologists and social scientists, and the priests of Quiapo are also explaining. So this is where we see there's a cultural element to it, and let us look at it at the point of view of why the devotees are doing it.
So that's a beautiful message, and of course, we're going to be covering this all throughout today. Pero Xiao, maraming salamat. Thank you very much for joining us. I know you've only had an hour of sleep. You're going to
Get some
have a full day, I
full
believe.
day.
So thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us today.
Maraming salamat po, and I hope that all of you will have a meaningful day, and I hope we also, whatever religion, Christian religion that we are, let's remember the Lord today.
That's right. Thank you so much, Xiao Chua.